morning, fellow YouTubers. My name's Mike. Welcome to the MDH Automotive channel. I'm glad you're here. I hope you come back. Today, Wednesday. Yeah, it's Wednesday. Okay, I had to think about it for a second. It is Wednesday. The 72 that's behind me, see right there, the 72 C10. Finally came back. Eddie finished up with the gas tank. I've got a working gas gauge now, but it's working backwards. So I suspect there's something haywire in the wiring. Wiring, whatever, that's causing it to read backwards, which if that's the way it's got to be, it's got to be. It doesn't bother me. I just know that when I'm empty, I'm full, and when I'm full, I'm empty. As long as I can remember that, I'm good. And every car in here has a little bit of a quirk. But anyway, today I'm going to take this 72 down to Jesse's, going to get new tires on it, and going to look at getting some new center caps for it, talk to Jesse about that. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to do a review video on the truck. It just occurred to me that I've still got 5 vehicles, even after I do this truck, that I haven't done a review video on, and I do have one more coming. I did take the Galaxy up to Galt yesterday. It's like the second trip it's made to Galt, and then I got it from Sacramento initially. So the car's actually gotten around. I've driven it quite a bit, and but I took it up to Galt, looking at trading a guy for a car, and he actually owns a shop, and I'm going to maybe hire him to do some work on this car and kind of get it more where I want to get it to. So I'm not going to say what it is right now, just because, you know, things can happen. Something could change. He could change his mind. I could change mine. We haven't exchanged paperwork or anything like that. No money's been exchanged. It was just kind of a verbal between the two of us. And I mean, you know how things go. Sometimes things change, situations change, or whatever. It happens. But at this point in time, it looks like a go. So I will keep you guys posted on that. But today, it's about this 72. So we'll do a quick walk around of the truck. Since I know I've talked a little bit about it. I talked a little bit after I got it. You'll notice a gas can in the bed because I just want to make sure the gas gauge is accurate and I don't run out of gas someplace. So I got about 4 or 5 gallons of gas in there just in case. So, but it's a pretty straight little truck. It's sitting a little low in the back right now because the airbags are down. After about 24 hours, they do go down. I've got to air them back up. But it does have an air ride in the back, just coils in the front. The truck was originally a long bed. It's been cut down to a short bed. It is a 72. I don't know how well you guys can see in there, but it's got seats out of, I believe, a 2006 Chevy pickup. So it's got the center console. It's got the seat belts here, which is kind of nice. Tilt column. All the gauges work except for the original temperature gauge. So we got an aftermarket right there. It's got a nice little aftermarket stereo. Interior's clean. Door panels are clean. Tilt column, all that good stuff. Under the hood is a very no frills, nothing fancy, small block 350. It's got a turbo 350 transmission behind it. You guys will hear when I start it up and it warms up. It's got a pretty heavy cam in it, really too much cam for the truck. It sounds really good. It's not an incredibly fast truck by any means. It's just a nice cruiser. With the turbo 350, I think it's got 373s in the rear end. It's definitely not a highway truck. I mean, I can go down the road at 65 or 70, but I'm using a lot of the motor. It's got like an aftermarket grille up front, which it looks really good, but as many of you might know on these vehicles, the release is in here, and you have to have really skinny fingers to get to it. Like I said, I do want to get rid of these center caps. I like the rims okay. I like the fact that they're 15s, but I'm not crazy about these nipple style center caps, so I want to go with some different center caps. So we're going to talk to Jesse about that. And these tires are 295s all the way around. They're pretty fat for the rim, so I'm going to go down with a 275. It'll ride a little bit better, get a little taller profile out of it, and plus these tires are really old, so I think I'm going to get a better ride out of it. The truck doesn't ride too bad for a lowered vehicle. So overall, very clean little truck. I like it. This has always been kind of my favorite body style for Chevys. Even though I've had that one for a long time, and I do love that body style. It's very sentimental to me. This has always kind of been my favorite body style. And the reason is because I always thought that these trucks were modern enough with the way they were set up, the way they rode, power steering, power brakes, you know, the way that they came and everything like that, that they were a good riding, good driving truck, but they still had just a nice body line. I like the body line, I like the hood. I've just always been a fan. Now, there is a little bit of a story about not just this truck, but about this body style. When I was in high school, I had my 65. A very good friend of mine that lived a couple doors down had a 72. It was his first vehicle. And I always liked that truck. I think that's kind of what got me into the truck, is that he got it. He did a few things to it. I mean, it was lowered down like this and had the 15-inch rims, which was about all you could get back then. And it was a cool truck, good running truck, had a good time with it. Wasn't really his thing. He ended up getting a Honda Prelude down the road, but I was always kind of sentimental to that truck. And probably at the time, if I would have had the money, I would have bought it if I could have bought it, if, you know, because he did go to sell it after he bought his Prelude. But I, of course, didn't have the money, didn't have the ability to have two trucks, and at that time, it just wasn't feasible for me. So that friend, many, many years ago, passed away in a farming accident. So, yeah, he was a good friend, kind of grew up with him and everything like that. His name was Mike also. So that's kind of the story behind this. So, you know, when I'm driving this, I kind of think about him, and good guy and everything like that. So that's the story behind this. You guys know I've had a little bit of an adventure already with the truck. Had a little engine fire, which was minor. That was taken care of. A couple little things with the starter, but it's got a new starter, new alternator. It's a pretty good little truck. Like I said, it runs good. Goes down the road pretty well. But I got to do some tweaks to it. I want to get a headliner for it because it doesn't have a headliner. I want to get some armrests for it. I think that'll make it a little easier for closing the doors, because you do tend to have to kind of slam them just because of the weather stripping or like that. It's kind of tight. And the stereo just needs to do some wiring to the stereo, but it's got a nice little sound system in it. You know, when I first got it, I thought about, okay, I'm going to do a 700R. I'm going to do maybe an aftermarket gauge setup. It is a factory air truck, and it is a Super Cheyenne truck, so that's kind of cool. So I thought about maybe putting air back in it. But, you know, truth of the matter is, I just don't drive it that much. This is not going to be something that I'm going to be taking out and driving on a daily basis. I can be selective about when I drive it. So I doubt that I'll ever do that, especially since I'm looking at another vehicle that's a little bit more of a project vehicle, and, you know, doing some things to it. And I still have some things I want to do to other vehicles, as you guys will know. Yeah, I think I've talked enough. I think it's time to head down to Jesse's, get some new tires on this thing, and we can also just do a little driving impression as we go. Okay, let's do a little cold start, and bear in mind it's carbureted, it's not fuel injected, so we may have to do this a couple times. Now we have to air up the airbags. Put the airbags up to about 20 pounds. That seems to be about right. Kind of idle down. I've kind of considered on actually a few vehicles going with that, like Holley EFI. Supposedly it's supposed to be very tunable. You're supposed to get more horsepower out of it, and then you don't have to worry about, you know, the whole pedal when you have to start them up. Everybody knows carbureted vehicles, you got to pump them and, you know, get them going and everything like that. So I've considered doing that. It's about $1,000–1,200 a vehicle. So, you know, there's probably actually a half a dozen vehicles I could do. Some I wouldn't want to do, but you see doing it on this one. I definitely would like to do it maybe on the 56. I'm not sure about the Impala. That is a thought. Maybe my 65. The Mustang would probably be a good candidate for that, because I notice when the Mustang's like hot, I almost have to floor it when I start it. So, you know, like I said, each car has its quirks. Sometimes it takes time just to get to know the quirks and the cold starts and the way it works and everything like that. So anyway, I think we might be warm enough to back out, maybe. Ah, yes. You guys can really hear the cam in this thing, and like I said, it sounds really, really good, but its bark is much worse than its bite. That's one thing with that cam, the way when it idles down, it just sits there. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but this thing just sits there and rocks back and forth. You told my wife when we have our baby, just put him in here, just sit out here and let it idle in gear, rock him right to sleep. Right now we're doing about 50 miles an hour, and I feel like I'm tacking. I don't probably around like 2,000, 2,200 anyway, maybe a little bit more. So it is pretty low geared. So I went a little rogue on you guys. You know, I filmed going down to Jesse's, but I didn't film anything when I was at Jesse's. I started talking to a guy about cars, of course, struck up a conversation about the 72, and from there I ended up leaving and going to a stereo shop right here in Turlock that Vasco goes to, and because this thing had like it wasn't wired right, the stereo wasn't wired right, so I had them do that real quick. And of course got to talking about my 65, and I thought, well, it's time to update the head unit on that, put a Bluetooth unit in it. So I came back, got my 65, took it down there, had them do that. So I've done a lot since I last checked in with you guys, and I apologize. Like I said, I went a little rogue. But here are the tires. It's got new tires all the way around, all four corners. See them from this angle a little bit better. And I'm not crazy about them. I kind of think I wish I would have went. I wish I would have just went with maybe some 50 series. These are 60 series. I think they're just a little too tall for my taste. I mean, they ride much better. The truck does ride much better. But yeah, I don't think I'm loving it. I'm not. I'm sure they'll grow on me. When I came back and got the 65 and took it back down to Turlock to the stereo shop, I forgot how nice the 65 just rides and drives and brakes and everything like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a nice truck, but my 65 is just a better built truck. It just is. So anyway, it is what it is. It's a better built truck, and that's why I'm going to keep it forever, right? Back in the shop, just want to catch you guys up to date, buying more little things and stuff like that for the shop. I did buy that little railroad light there, as you can see. I think that's kind of cool. What had happened was my buddy Wade had found this gas pump and a sign on Facebook, and he sent it to me and said, hey, you know, check this out, kind of cool. So I hit the guy up, asked him what he wanted for everything, and he shot me a number, and I asked him if he'd deliver it, and he said yes. So he ended up having that light there also for sale. I bought that off of him, and then he threw in this sign right here, which I thought was kind of cool, hanging up there. I'll show you guys the gas pump real quick. So ended up getting this gas pump right here. I don't know if that's going to be the permanent spot for it, but still trying to sell the pinball machine and make some more room in here, but that's where I stuck it for the time being. And then also got that Quaker State motor oil sign. That was part of the deal. And a White Rose gasoline globe. So that was kind of cool. So ended up doing that. Right now the only vehicle that's out is a 65 GTO that I just picked up. It had a little bit of a water pump leak, which Eddie determined was actually the housing behind the water pump. The water pump is fine, so he's looking for one of those. Shouldn't be too expensive of a fix, but you know, waiting to get that part and get that going. Like I said, working on possibly a deal for trading the Galaxy, so we'll see how that goes. I'll keep you guys posted on that. Never a dull moment, always something going on, definitely not bored. So with that, yeah, I'll end the video. So as always, like, share, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate the support. Follow me on Instagram. It'll be in the description below. P.O. Box will be in the description below. And with that, guys, God bless. Take care. Have an absolutely amazing day.